All right.
Greetings, my sisters. This is Reverend Elaine Flake, coming all the way from New York. And we're here today to talk about the Whole Her Conference that will be held April 24th through 26th at the Caesars Palace Hotel in Atlantic City. We are excited and certainly we're looking forward to our conference. We have two very accomplished and celebrated guests here today, Sister Lauryn Williams and Reverend Renita Weems. They're going to be here to talk about what they will be doing and discussing at our conference. And of course, we remind you we do have the four pillars the areas that we will be covering. And those four pillars are faith, finance, purpose, and wellness.
And I am Danielle Brown, all the way from Plainfield, New Jersey. I'm so excited about this Whole Her Conference. This is just a groundbreaking conference and experience for women. And not only will you get to hear from women who are leading in their particular areas of work and study, but at this conference, you will also get to hear directly from women who have been trailblazers and firsts in their area, like Lauryn Williams, like the incomparable Dr. Renita Weems, who will be sharing and speaking. And this Women's History Month, it also is very encouraging to know that women are taking chances and still making history and still being first and still blazing trails and doing things that are just beyond imagination and will wow us. But now you get an opportunity by coming to the Whole Her Conference to hear directly from women like that, run your ideas by them and just hear about their journeys and their impartation. That is going to be an incredible experience for us all.
Right. So we do have Sister Lauryn Williams, who is a four-time Olympian and three-time Olympian medalist, the first woman to earn a medal in both the Summer and the Winter Olympics. She is here, and the Reverend Dr. Renita Weems, of course, is the first woman of color to receive a PhD in Old Testament studies. And we are excited to have both of them, Reverend Weems, Dr. Weems.
Mhm. Well, thank you. I'm so delighted to be here and delighted to be partnering with the Whole Her and this organization. And I have been part
Okay.
of certainly things. Okay, thank you.
Speaking of first,
Is
Reverend Renita was at my first conference in 1983 before Lauren and Danielle were even thought about. So we are
Hey
excited about
now.
that.
I was thought about. I was born in September, so depending on when the conference was, depends on whether or not I had made my entrance.
1983. No, I don't remember what month. November 1983, I think.
I
Yeah.
was 2 months old. I was there in
Really?
spirit.
oh,
Girl,
oh
you look
wow.
well. You look
Wow.
much younger than that. Okay. Okay. So we want you to connect your background as an athlete and discuss the highlights of your career and what it means to you to be the first in your field.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I am honored and privileged to have become the first American woman, not just the first American woman, but also the first Black woman by being the first woman, period, to have done this thing. And I never would have imagined this is where my life was going to take me. And I'm often asked, like,
Yeah.
how did you end up in two sports? And the answer is, I mean, it couldn't be anybody but the Lord, honestly. That's not just a cliche saying. I ran track and field from the age of 9 all the way until the age of 30. 10 years as a professional athlete. I did 3 Olympics. 2004, I earned the silver medal in the 100 meters. 2008, I got fourth place in the 100 meters. And then in 2012, I was a part of the team that broke the world record in the 4x1 relay. And so
Oh
if you had
boy.
asked, I thought I would just be doing track and field and that was going to be my life, my legacy, the thing I was most known for. But little did I know that last year
Mhm.
of competing in track and field, I saw a young lady in the airport and I had read an article about her having tried bobsled the year before. And I was like, how did you find bobsled? Like, it's not a sport that you hear a whole lot about. And she's like, yeah, it's everyone's second sport. You kind of find out about it word of mouth. You should try it. And I was like, I don't know. And so this is July of 2023. Oh no, 2013, excuse me. And the Olympics are 6 months later in February of 2014. I had no plans at all, even at that point of talking to her, to go like, oh, I'll just try to go to the Olympics in 6 months. But I went and I did the very last tryout that was available. And that is what turned into the opportunity to make that team. And over the next 6 months, I was in a like just hot to trot kind of phase of learn as much as you can in order to be able to support Team USA in this way. And I did. I became a Olympian in winter sports and in bobsled, and we earned the silver medal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm a college athlete, and I played 3 sports all the way up to college. So I know that the mindset of training all year round and kind of being on is one thing. But can you talk about what that was like at the professional level, right? A professional Olympian level, training all year round. And then who were your greatest influences while you were training, or what kept your mind in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the one thing that stands out is like people don't really understand what it means to be a professional athlete. We do a lot of glamorizing, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. And I think like, oh, those people just have it made. They make lots of money, and it doesn't amount to the same amount of work that I do in my day-to-day job. Is kind of like the sentiment that I hear frequently. But we really do have full-time jobs, and it is taking care of our bodies. And Olympians are not compensated in the way that any of those other sports that I named are. And so we've got to manage our finances. We need to make sure that we are able to support ourselves year round. If an injury comes, you lose your ability to make money. And so you've got to have a really good backup fund. And being able to train all year round is not just you using your body, but it's the nutrition. It is the physical therapist. It is the ice tubs. It's the coach. It's the strength coach. And it's just the constant managing of a team of people that you're kind of responsible for, one from an income standpoint, but also from explaining to them what you need to be the best, because ultimately they don't get to run the race for you. I have to step out on that track by myself.
That was now, Renita, that was the millennial experience. And I knew you when you would have been considered a millennial if that was what you were when you were their young age.
Yeah.
But I was with Renita on this PhD journey, but I'd like for her to talk about what her journey was like, becoming the first woman of color with a PhD in Old Testament.
Thank you very much. This is I was just really appreciated hearing Lauryn's journey, because there's someone which there are parallels, though mine is academia and her is as an athlete, but it calls for some of the same kind of discipline, same kind of need backup support group. It's about training, about staying focused. I'm able to certainly eat more Oreo cookies and Snickers than Lauren can. I don't have to. I can pick out that she not pick out. Still, it still calls for discipline, and it calls for kind of self-initiative and ingenuity. So this conference, I mean, if the 4 pillars are around certainly wellness and finance and purpose and faith. I think that Lauryn are great parent today, and to talk about our work and why that's going to be important at a conference like this of women, to hear from the academic to the athlete, that God uses and uses in our different gifts. And most women's conferences have been so much of the spirit in a very small kind of way, that now we are talking about the larger issues that this kind of frames all of us. Women's conferences provide a placeholder that was safe for me to begin to imagine new possibilities for me. For me, that possibility, academia, getting a PhD. For somebody else, it was something else. For me, it was academia and going on from the master's level. And this decided I wanted a PhD in Testament from Princeton Seminary, and from there going on to become a seminary professor.
If this will be helpful, or Dr. Weems would ever put this on her resume, but she preached a sermon in Perth Amboy, New Jersey when I was 13, and I still remember the sermon. And so it was, what's love got to do with it? I beseech you, by the mercies of God, stir not love nor awaken it before it's time. So I just
yeah.
Oh my God.
Communicator
of the gospel.
Yeah. When they start telling you that they're 13 years old when they heard you almost want to. Maybe it really is time for me to hang up my cleats, Lauryn. Maybe it's time for me to hang up my sneakers and my tennis shoes, because when they're telling you, I saw you, baby, when you were I was 13, and oh, you preached to me, and I'm like, well, look, I'm looking at Danielle, and I mean, you kind of up there in your own age, so that means I must be really old. But
the Lord is not done with you yet. That's the key.
Oh, listen, Lord, listen to athlete. Thank you, athlete.
No. I would say that when you think about these women's conferences, there is a life-giving element that we receive, that we experience no matter where we go. You can go to the academy, you can go, you can have even national television stages, but there's something so very unique about a women's conference that is life-giving and life-changing.
Once I went away to college, the first, and I would just have it this way, first thinking woman of faith, again, women's conferences, the first thinking woman of faith that I ever met, combined Black intelligence, or as we call it now, Black genius, with Black girl magic, with Afrocentric flair. Yes. Reverend City with Brian. I had seen a woman with a pastor's wife who had a huge afro and let it go wherever it wanted to go. I mean, wherever it wanted to go. You came to the, you're like, is that the pastor? Afro do whatever it wanted to do, and she was totally brilliant.
So,
okay, good.
We talked about influences, but were there any naysayers, Lauryn, as you were on your quest to compete in summer and winter Olympics? Did you have any naysayers, especially when you ventured into bobsledding?
The answer is yes, yes, and yes. There have been naysayers throughout the whole journey, but I think it was just such a shock for people to see, why is she going from summer to winter? Like, was summer not enough? She's already done 3 Olympics. That kind of feeling of what exactly is she setting out to accomplish? People were just kind of had that one eye open. And I do actually have one person that I remember specifically as my coach. So same person I just mentioned as one of the most influential people in my life, my track coach. She sent a text message she thought she was sending it to somebody else, but she actually texted me talking about me.
Oh my God.
Like I said, this is the person that I know loves and cares for me, but also was just like mind blown by the idea of like, wait, she's doing something else. And we've seen so frequently with athletes, sometimes they can't let go of sport. They're 77 years old with 1 foot and is still trying to, compete in the Olympics. And you're just like, hold on a second. Like, at some point you need to move on. And I think that was the overwhelming feeling for a lot of people. It's like, oh boy, is she getting ready to go down this spiral of, just trying to hang on and do anything, especially when she's so brilliant. I know, like I said, this coach knew how I was academically. She knew I had other goals and dreams. So people were just a little bit caught off guard by it. But eventually I turned the naysayers into yay-sayers, if you will.
And so what do you recommend that athletes do to put themselves in a place where they can transition like you did? Because some of what keeps people holding on is not planning for life after competition, life after, being active. That it happens in ministry, and athletics. But what do you do, or what would you
absolutely
to athletes to put themselves in a position where they can, when they've come to the end of their competitive life, to prepare financially, mentally, all of that? What would you
Yeah,
recommend?
absolutely. I would say the first thing that I would recommend for an athlete is to know who you are outside of your field of play. You need to have identity in something other than I am a 100-meter runner. I am a track and field athlete. I am a, fill in the blank with your sport. Because the biggest problem that we face as athletes as we finish sport is not having a clear idea of who we are, or any idea for that matter, of who we are outside of that. People have been cheering for us our whole lives. We've been focused in one area. We didn't have any other interest, which leads me kind of to the second piece that I think is really important is, explore other things, be educated in other areas of life. So many of us have become professional athletes through the college system. College is not something just to get you from point A over into the professional sports, and we need to stop thinking of it like that. It is a place where you go to get educated. So you got a great opportunity. You finished high school and you got the opportunity to go to college, which is already a privilege still in America today. Make the most of that opportunity and explore something beyond your sport so that you have something else to look into life after sport, so that you can be ready to organize your finances. So as I mentioned, in Olympic sports, we don't retire. There's the 1% of people that you see are highlighted at the Olympic Games on commercials and such that are making a really good living. The rest of us don't have the luxury. We said we may earn well, but we're not going to have the luxury to kick our feet up and never work again. And it's a really hard transition when you don't have any other skills to transition from sport to life after sport. If you've never looked into like, who am I beyond the athlete?
Okay.
Great. Excellent.
Reverend Renita,
I think I could say
have
a
you
little.
got any recommendations for preachers?
Yeah. Well, it so happened that I was on social media the week, and I saw where a woman is becoming a pastor, Dr. Danielle. They're in the New Jersey area, and I said to myself, I'm not. I almost to hit my nose and say, do not respond. Do not water on a parade, because that's the only church that turned me away, that told me the women had invited me. I came that Sunday morning, and a deacon met me at the front door, turned away, and the pastor was not said that I could not preach. And here it is, some 40 years later, I almost wrote and said, yeah, that's the church turned me away 50 years. I said, no, you don't do that. This is her parade. So you get all of that, the teasing and the serious ones and the teasing ones. You get all that. You get professors who get to seminary, or get a PhD. You get professors who doubt that you can finish the program, who doubt if you're in Bible that you can grasp the languages you have to grasp in order to do biblical studies. But those who have never seen, who at that time, this is the 80s, never seen a black student, particularly never a black woman student in a PhD program.
You'll be providing at the conference some insight about building generational wealth, and the sandwich generation is very important as more of Gen X. Even older millennials are now taking care of kids, parents, nieces and nephews. We're kind of that caretaker generation. I'll tell you, as a young ex, I'm raising my mama, and she's rough. I'm like, baby boomers, Lord, what in the world? It's hard. They don't listen. But now, how does or what would you say about the importance and increasing importance for you around establishing generational wealth, and some keys for women for battling or working against or surviving even the state of the economy as it is right now?
Absolutely. There is so much to think about. So you have to come to the conference if you want to hear my full spiel. But as just a few key takeaways, one of the things we're not doing as women that I'm seeing regularly is putting our oxygen mask on first. We are so used to taking care of everybody else and putting ourselves to the side that we're not able to build any wealth for ourselves. We're not, much less to be thinking about generational wealth. And that is going to hit us really hard when we reach the age of retirement, and maybe the next generation is not able to care for us. So put your oxygen mask on first. And when I say put it on, that means in the form of educating yourself about what is going on in your finances, I think Dr. Renita said it a little bit earlier. Like, don't be so tied to your partner that you don't know what's going on in your household financially. Oh, they handle that for me. Oh, he handles that for me. Whatever. I'm not smart. I don't do numbers. All these different kind of narratives that we've been told. Let's ditch those. Let's put them off to the side. And let's take control of empowering ourselves so that we know what's going on within our finances, so that we can then put that oxygen mask on first and prioritize, how do I keep, my children fed and also make sure that my mom is not on the streets because she didn't have the retirement that we were expecting, because that's a real reality that a lot of people are facing right now. The second thing I would say is the emergency fund. Emergency fund is making sure you have some sort of nest egg set aside in cash, because everybody's all invest. Investing is a piece of the puzzle, but you do need to have some cash on hand for when stuff gets crazy, like right now in our economy. If you don't have any cash, what are you leaning on? Credit cards, borrowing from other people, things that do not lend themselves to building wealth. And then last but not least, I would say, get yourself a budget. There are tons of different ways to do it. There's apps, there's spreadsheets, there's notebooks. People are writing it in their phone nowadays, but do something. If you don't know what is coming in and you don't know what is going out, how are you going to achieve any goals? You don't know what your goals are because you don't even know what you have to be able to make a goal, to save for a goal. So a budget is a foundational piece of creating a financial plan for yourself before you get to the investing, before you get to the, fill in the blank with whatever buzzword thing it is that people are excited to talk about now. You have to first have a budget. So I'm gonna get off the soapbox and I'll see y'all at the conference to get the rest of the information.
Great. I remember my first job, my uncle told me, Danielle, you need to put aside $1,000 in savings, like just work on that. And then I did it. The next year he came back and he said, how you doing with the savings? I said, I have my $1,000. He said, it wasn't supposed to be the same 1,000, fool. So that was my
That's it. So
right, we're working on that next 1,000, right?
Thank God we have, that was 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
And we've come a long way since then. But this is good, and so we will be getting this invaluable information at this Whole Her conference, and I'm so excited about everything that we're going to draw from. We're hearing from and just learning from these powerful women of faith as well, learning about faith matters as well as financial matters and all of the practical things in between. And so we look forward to seeing all of you at the Whole Her conference, and you should register today so that you can get all of the insights that Lauryn Williams has and that Dr. Renita Weems has at the Whole Her conference in Atlantic City, New Jersey, April 24th through the 26th.